On a quiet street, whoops. On a quiet street, in a quiet neighborhood, sits a house that's anything but quiet. The current owner won't live there. Caretakers move out within months, some vacating in the middle of the night. Whispers of a backroom murder, human bones under glass, and a deep, dark well, visible and preserved in the main room, makes this house anything but ordinary. Witness one of our most terrifying investigations as we lock into battle with unseen forces and struggle desperately to regain control when the spirits decide to take over. Welcome to Everything Vaguely Paranormal. Hello. Welcome. And here we go again. Hello. Welcome to Everything Vaguely Paranormal. I'm Shelley Pruitt, and let me introduce to you my partners in the paranormal. That would be Mr. Blake Smith, who is the wizard who is pushing the buttons, and of course, our human encyclopedia, Mr. Ryan Roberts, who knows everything about everything. Let me start off by giving you guys a disclaimer about tonight's episode. We are going to be dealing with literally some disturbing content, which if you have any issues with seeing people who are potentially possessed, that have been as what we call getting jumped, this may be the time to think about listening or carrying forward with us. It is some disturbing content. You see a person who is possessed live that we recorded that happened during our investigation at Hill Manor. So we want to just go ahead and caution you about that. We also have tonight two very special guests with us. That is Keith Abrams from Haunted Sky Paranormal, and our ordained minister, Stacy Ortiz of Gypsy Soul Paranormal, of whom I am rocking the Gypsy Soul Paranormal t-shirt. And of course, Blake is rocking the Scooby-Doo t-shirt, which our Haunted Sky Paranormal friends, when we first met them, it was on a Halloween night, and they came dressed as the Scooby Gang to an investigation, which was so freaking awesome. We had so much fun with them. And when they invited us to go to Hill Manor in Gainesville, we jumped at the chance to go with them. They were gamers. They were a lot of fun to go with. And what a night. The most frightening night that I have ever had as a paranormal investigator. And I've been seriously doing it for 10 years. I've been doing a little over 15. Never experienced anything like that before.
Definitely something that I can definitely say that I've never experienced, and definitely sure that I don't want to experience again.
That is 100% correct. And Keith Abrams of Haunted Sky Paranormal, he has graciously agreed to come on and tell us about it, because Keith was actually the one that was affected. Yeah, they got jumped. And you know, I gotta give him credit, because if it was me, I'd be like, oh hell no, you ain't showing that. They think I'm crazy as it is. I'm damn sure not getting on it. But I'll give him all the credit. When we asked him if he was willing to come on, he absolutely said of course, and we're very grateful for that. But let's tell you a little bit about the Hill House Manor in Gainesville. Not to be confused with the one in Mineral Wells. This is the Hill House Manor in Gainesville, Texas. Yes.
So this one was this one was built somewhere. So I tried to do a lot of the research on the history of the structure itself, when it was built, who owned it, all of that stuff. And I kept hitting roadblocks wrong along the way. The only thing that I was able to find out is that this location was built at some point in the mid 1850s. There is actually no documentation of who the actual original owner is. I was never able to find that. And I'm a realtor. I know where to go find land records, okay? And also a genealogist. I know where to search. And I was not able to find anything. It did change hands throughout its history, of course. At one time, it was a bordello. That is where one of the spirits that is said to haunt this location comes from. Two gentlemen getting into an argument over a prostitute. One killed the other one over that during that fight. Supposedly was and rumored to have been stabbed to death. It was a speakeasy at one point. It's been a private residence many times. And it also at one point has been small apartments is what I had found. I'm thinking something along the lines of one on top, one on bottom, since it is a 2-story building.
Like a quad kind of layout?
Kind of like a quad, maybe even. But the issue was that when the current owner took over, it was still apartments, and she had issues with people not breaking their leases. They always broke their leases, and it was for paranormal reasons, basically. Like they would not stay there.
Wow.
And even to throw into the fact that the last caretaker of the properties, or the caretakers of the property, was a paranormal team.
That's right.
And they checked out at 3-4 months in, somewhere in there. And they said, we ain't doing it.
It must have been all kinds of wild to make a paranormal team say, I'm out.
But again, at some point, I mean, we like to go places. We don't necessarily want to live with them. So, but a paranormal team you would think would be more better equipped to deal with something like that and maybe understand it and maybe figure out a way to kind of calm it down. But no, the paranormal team that was the caretaker before, and I don't know if it was 2 people or 3, they moved out. They couldn't take it after 3 months.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think we know why.
Yeah, I think we know why, but let's show. So this is the house that we're talking about. Yes, it is covered by trees. There are a couple of different angles that you can see of it. It is a little foreboding, honestly, when you walk up to it. It is deceptively large on the inside. It has been known to have the nickname of a labyrinth, if you will, because people get turned around. They get kind of figuring out, like, where the hell am I? You know, after being in there, I can see how that happens. But other than that, there is not much history on this place. The only thing that we know, obviously, just from being there is, and this, I think, is the source of some of the issues there, is the well.
I would agree with that.
So for those who do not know about Hill House Manor in Gainesville, Texas, in the, I guess what is classified as the dining room.
It would be the main room, because, you know, you have your little parlor, sitting room, and the kitchen. So I think that would kind of be the little dining, but this would be more like a living area, like a den kind of thing.
True.
I would think.
Maybe a den.
And then it goes back to what I would have assumed would have been a bedroom, because there's a bathroom that leads off of it into another room.
Right.
And because it has access to a back staircase, I would think that would be more like kind of like a main room, kind of like a living room or a den area. And at the back of this room, that's the room.
That's the room we're talking about.
And there is a well, an open well that has water in the bottom of it. And there's this big plexiglass case that sits over it so that you don't step into it. Now, the first time I ever went to Hill House.
What the hell?
That ain't no joke. The first time I ever went to Hill House Manor in Gainesville, there was a flat piece of plexiglass over it, and you could actually step over the well. But there's actually water on it, and there is no moss along the sides. It's relatively clean for a well, which means there has to be some kind of underground water source that's flowing underneath it to keep it from either drying up and evaporating, or the water's not stagnant. And that was something that really kind of, I got to looking at it. I'm like, I don't know what the hell's up with this. But now I will tell you, the very first time I ever went to Hill Manor, I didn't get anything. And we got some strange knocks, but I did play blackjack with the cowboy. There's a cowboy that's alleged to haunt the upstairs kitchen. And I played blackjack with him for almost 45 minutes. He was telling me, hit, stand, give me a card. He was calling me a cheater. And so I had a really good almost 45-minute interaction with him. Now that little upstairs area kind of becomes a point of contention for Blake and I, because the very first time I ever went to Hill Manor in Gainesville, somebody said, "Hey, you need to go in that kitchen." And I said, "Okay." And I turned around and I started in through this door and I ran smack into something. And y'all know me, I don't jump, I don't scream. I did both. I jumped and I believe, I was walking right in there and I ran straight into something. It was right up in front of my face. And I
Wow.
walked into it enough that I thought it was a human being standing there. And I backed up and I screamed like a girl. And trust me, I'm not proud of that. But that was my first encounter there. So whenever I say nothing really happened at Hill House, the first time I went, that was all that happened at Hill House, which a lot of people would go, "Shit, that's plenty."
Not for us, though.
No,
For us, though,
no, not
I
us.
expected more.
Yeah.
Well, let
Now-
me tell you, they did not let me down this time.
No, and even in the same spot in that kitchen, in where those doorways are at. So the one that's right directly in the middle leads to a bathroom. The one on the left leads to a bedroom. Shelly, you and I were up there in this kitchen with some of the other group members of Haunted Sky Paranormal, and we were getting all kinds of responses on REM Pod, on S-Box, all that stuff. And you looked at me, and I was actually in the back corner. Now, the back corner is interesting because you actually caught something in a
I
picture.
did.
And
And
if
so if you look in the back, where you see that red light, you notice everything is in focus, but in that back area by the red light, there was a dark mist that came across that I saw, which is why I started taking the picture. And I did take 3 or 4 pictures, and that was the only one that it was in. And you can see how it kind of blurs out the top part of that chair that's sitting there. And that was right before we started playing. I believe you can see the cards on the table. That's right before I started playing blackjack.
Yeah.
That was the first time.
Now I was standing in that corner by that window, and you were back over here by the doors, and you said, "Blake, switch spots with me." And I said, "All right, that's fine." So I come and stand over here, and you go over and stand by your little Miss person that's your friend.
By my cowboy.
Yeah, pretty much. And I'm standing there, and I am looking towards you, towards that corner. And I got my arms crossed, and I'm kind of leaned back a little bit, just kind of watching the room. And one of the other group members, Carissa, was standing right in front of me. You were on the other side of her. And I just happened to be glancing her direction. And at this little intersection, I saw something. Now, there was light being cast on the bathroom door. And I saw something that was black that, I mean, it just went right across that bathroom door and into that bedroom door at the same spot where you ran right into that guy.
Now, what was it? Super fast, or was it
very fast? Very
Okay.
fast. I just happened to be standing like this, and I was looking at Carissa, and I just happened to glance this way, and I mean, it was
Wow.
there and gone within a split second. So you and I have had parallel experiences on 2 separate occasions. And they're pretty much the same experience in the exact same spot.
In the same
So,
spot. And I
Wow.
had not told you about that experience
No.
before we did that. And so for you to have seen what I saw, not on the same scale, because he kind of ran past you. He just ran up on me. I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa, asshole, back up. I've had enough of this. Which is generally my response. Yeah, that was very interesting to have a similar experience that you knew nothing about. Now, shall we tell kind of about how the evening got started? Because whenever Blake got there, the members of Haunted Sky Paranormal were already there. And I had already gone in with them. We'd walked around. We'd looked. We've been taking out equipment. And by the way, they have some fantastic toys. They have some good toys.
Oh, they have great toys.
With Haunted Sky Paranormal, they have got some good toys. And so I was being impressed by some of the toys they had and some of the cool things they had to use. But whenever Blake got there, I started to tell him something. He goes, "Wait, I want to go in blind. I don't usually do this, but I want to go in blind." And I went, "Are you sure?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I went,
Never
Okay.
again. Never again.
I was respecting my fellow paranormal investigators' wishes, and I didn't tell him anything.
Nope. And so Shelly decides to lead me in. She's like, "You want a tour?" I was like, "That's great." It's me and Shelly walking forward. We're the only 2 that are starting to enter the house. There were some group members that were outside with the Haunted Sky Paranormal group members outside. And I want to say that there were a couple inside too. Or we were
There were
the only-
a couple in there in the parlor and in the kitchen area.
Okay, yeah. And so we walked directly in. We opened that door, and I crossed that threshold, and I just go, "Oh."
And I said, "I think they're going to act up tonight." And he went, "I think you're right."
Yep.
And I said, "Let's go see the well." That's interesting, because that's the first place I took you.
It
I
is,
said, let's go see the well.
but I think what kind of drew us to it, because when we were standing right there, I closed the door behind me, and immediately out of this corner of my eye in that living room, I saw something move. And I clicked my flashlight on, and I was like, what the hell?
And I'm like, let's go.
And so me and Shelly are like, all right, we're off. And we head over to the well room.
And that was like leading you to the well. You followed this thing into the room with the well in it.
That's the room with the well right there. Now, the living room is this room here. Now, to the left is a doorway that we were standing on the other side of. I saw this thing go across the living room towards that doorway. And on the other side of that doorway that's in the picture is the well room. Now, I didn't have a picture of the well because things got...
That was odd. I didn't either.
I know. Things got real interesting real quick. So, because I arrived a little bit later than you, probably somewhere around like a 9:30 time frame. And by 11, we were all in one group, like having fun and getting things started. So do you think this would be... Go ahead, Ryan.
I would say I've never been in this place. This is the first place that we're talking about that I haven't been. Like Shelly and Blake have both been. And I heard in the intro, you said something about human bones. What's up with the bones?
So whenever you first walk into the door, and actually I thought it was odd that Blake did not notice them until the very end of the night, where I said, did you see the bones? There's a display case whenever you walk in. Whenever you walk in, there's a staircase that's on your left. And then this little display case is on your right. Now, the human bones are in this display case on the left upper corner of it, along with some old shoes and pieces of clothes and lace and stuff. But there are 2 human bones, and they are human bones, that are under glass. And I believe that the first time I'd gone, that we had a very brief moment with the caretaker, and I believe she said they'd been found on the property.
Oh,
but
Jesus.
Nothing else was ever found. Now,
Yeah.
don't quote me on that, because I don't know if that caretaker at the time was the same caretaker as now. I don't know. But I believe that was the story I was told. To the best of my knowledge, that is correct.
Now, is it just open for investigation, or is it a museum as well, or is it? It's
just not a
museum.
museum.
Okay.
It is strictly for investigation, pretty much. Yeah.
And yes, anybody that wanted to go and rent it to investigate, shoot, take a change of drawers, because God knows I needed one.
Now, let me tell you something. We're talking about this episode, and I brought something a little special with me to this podcast, and that is my little thing of holy water, because the whole week I have not felt... I have felt extremely nervous about doing this.
I have mine too. I've got mine too.
I'm not gonna lie.
I'll have no holy water.
Since we're getting started with this.
Exactly, because we're about to get really into it. I put a few drops in my little sweet tea here. That is some holy Southern sweet tea right there.
Which means after this, Ryan, what does he get?
Holy shits.
That's right.
Exactly. So why don't we get to the point of where the night went to shit?
Well, I think that we should probably bring in our special guests for this. What do you think? So please let me introduce to you Keith Abrams from Haunted Sky Paranormal and our ordained minister, Stacy Ortiz from Gypsy Soul Paranormal. Welcome, you guys. How are you tonight? Hi.
Hi.
Hi, how y'all doing?
Good. So glad to have y'all.
Yeah, great to have y'all on.
Speaking of holy water.
I bet Stacy's got some close too if she needs it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Ryan, what the hell, man? You're the only one that's
man.
What are you doing?
How did you not
all
come
I got is my regular water right here.
Come on.
No, I got some jet that somebody gave me. Thanks, Paul.
You have your protection stones.
You got crystal, and I've got my pendant on. So I'm ready. So let's just. Got my pendant. Got my holy water. I got my holy
Keith, you got
tea.
some protection, because if it's going to go sideways, it's coming for you.
Oh yeah.
So
first time.
Yeah, it sure wouldn't. So Keith, tell me a little bit about how the night started for Haunted Sky Paranormal, because you guys were there a few minutes before I was. Kind of tell me what kind of led us into what happened to you.
All right, so we arrived on the property around 8:00, and it was me, my wife, Joe, and Carissa, and Kayla there originally. And we were walking around the property because we were locked out. We were trying to get a hold of the owner to get the code for the key. And they were walking around the property, and they had this app on their phone. It's kind of like a spirit box that projects words. So you put your phone in airplane mode, and it'll project words. I guess they're allowed to use it kind of like an Ovilus almost, but it's a phone app. Mm-hmm. So they walk around the house to the back side of the well, because there's a little box where you can access to the well on the outside of the house too, or to get under the house. And as soon as they set their phone down, they got feed them. This is
What? I did not
before
know
we ever
that.
entered the house. So they come running around like scared little poo nannies.
You can say
And I'm
pussy,
like,
it's
yeah,
fine.
say pussies,
they're
it's
like
fine.
they're like
Yeah.
nope. And so I mean, they've been on a hunt with us before, but nothing like what happened that night's ever happened to any of us. And
Yeah.
so they were messing around the front porch, and Joe Dunn, he'll be in the video later that I guess y'all are gonna show. He knocked on the glass once. And me being a smartass, I walked up there and I knocked 3 times. Well, the knock is supposedly the mark of the Holy Trinity, so that started off the night.
What do you
And
think
from
about that, Stacy?
Yeah.
The minister's laughing at you.
Now, Keith, was this your first time at this location?
no, sir, it's actually our second. Me and my wife, we've been on a couple hunts. We've been to South Carolina, did a hunt there. We were with Shelly when she was with that other group in, what was it, Mineral Wells, I believe, correct?
At the Army Beach
At the Army
Hospital in
Beach.
Fort-
I was
yeah.
Fred, so
I remember you. I was there that night. I remember y'all
yes,
being in the basement.
yes, you were. Yeah, I see the shirt. I love
Yeah.
the shirt.
Did it just for you.
I just have a quick question. What would make you knock 3 times? Wait, is this something you normally do?
I'm a skeptic. I was a skeptic.
He's rephrasing.
I was
So-
a skeptic. As of now, I got chills talking about it now. So I mean, it's definitely something that I'll probably never do again. Mock the Trinity, I guess you would call it, but it's just, I've seen ghost hunting shows, and they're all like the knocking 3 times is the mock of the Trinity, and thought I was being funny because it was a couple of people's first time there, so I thought I was being funny. Turned out that I probably shouldn't have done that.
Have you done that on other investigations as far
No,
as
ma'am.
So this
No,
was your
ma'am.
very first time of knocking of the Trinity.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
I would
ma'am.
say that was the wrong place to have done that.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's clarify. Knocking of the Trinity is not from you, it's from the spirits beyond. So if they were to knock 3 times, it would be knocking of the Trinity. You
Okay.
knocking 3 times though, and you've never done that in another location.
Why?
Why
I
did
don't know.
this house appeal that?
I have no idea. I honestly don't. This was our second time at the location. My wife Heather, which is the one who created Haunted Sky Paranormal, this was her birthday. We did this for her birthday, and 2 years ago we did the same thing. We did it again for her birthday. So 2 years ago we were at the same location for her birthday with another with another group that took us around there, and we did our hunt then. And so I guess I felt kind of comfortable, to say the least, because nothing happened the time before.
Right. Okay. It just seems weird that you've been to other locations besides Gainesville and you've never knocked 3 times.
Never
Yes,
been
ma'am.
compelled to do that.
Nope.
So I was just asking as to why. I mean, why would you do that there?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
I was making myself a note. Don't knock 3 times at the door. Yeah, just
So-
because see, I take notes during the thing.
But so Stacy, I guess my question jumps to you just real quick. So could that be in a way if somebody is, let's say, trying to be funny or trying to play a prank or whatever? I mean, could that be as a way
An
of
invitation?
inviting an invitation?
No.
Okay.
No.
See, this is why we have you on the call, because
I
No,
think
obviously
the way she's
not.
asking that question is because I've never done it before. Therefore, I've never had the inquisition to do it. Maybe
Yeah.
something was already messing with me as soon as I got to the location.
Yeah.
very well could be.
I do believe that you knocking 3 times is it's interesting that you've not done this on other locations and all of a sudden you walk onto the property. You're not even in the house yet.
Not
You're
even in
just
the house.
You're just walking around and you decide to knock 3 times. It's fine. I mean, I'm a skeptic. I mean, and I would probably go around. I've done it. I've knocked 3 times several times just to see what would happen. But my point was you've never done it before and all of a sudden you've done it. And the necrophone that came on through the phone app said, "Feed me."
Yeah.
So you were already feeding it.
Oh,
Yep.
that's interesting. I didn't even think of that angle either. See, this is why we got somebody who knows what they're doing.
That's why we
don't leave it-
bring in
don't-
the experts.
Yeah, bringing in the experts because as much as we do know, we always like to ask other investigators their points of view because we do what works for us, but they may have a trick that works better for them, and they may know some stuff that we don't know and teach us. Because I don't want to. Not me. I'm out.
Yeah.
So you get there and you've knocked 3 times, and then not too long after that, I join you guys, and
Yes, ma'am.
we go into the house. So what happens directly after that? So we start looking at all the toys and everything, and Blake gets there. Now, was there anything that happened in the time between the time that I got there and the time that Blake arrived? Was there any weird activity?
Yes, in what they would call the murder room. You walked in and you had, I guess you were doing an EVP session or a spirit box session, and you immediately started talking to somebody. They remembered you off the bat. I was actually in I guess we'd call it the control center where all the cameras, where all the monitors for the camera systems were, still setting up equipment, and like 4 or 5 people went in that room with you, and you sat in there for a good 15 minutes and had a conversation with this entity or
Yeah,
spirit,
something
let's say.
remembered me.
Oh wow.
Sorry, guys, I didn't tell you about that.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Too many other
Shelley.
things were going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually had forgotten that something immediately was started talking to me before you ever got there, Blake, because it was like, I know you. I'm like, yeah, I know you too. Okay, great.
Well, you had even
Man.
called me. I was about 30 minutes out. You had called me and you were like, where are you? And I was like, I am literally 25, 30 minutes out. Like, give me.
and I'm like, drive faster.
Yes, she's like, get here, put the freaking pedal to the metal. Because you had told me that on the staircase, or one of the staircases, I don't remember which one, it might have been the back one, because that's the only one I could think of that you might be able to kind of get around the way that y'all did, that y'all had knocks coming across already as well. So I found that interesting. Of course, after you tell me that, I'm already doing 80 and a 70, and I'm like, all right, 85 and a 70 it is. Allegedly doing 80 and a 70.
Because we always safety first.
Yeah.
So y'all had
and-
knocks. I'm sorry. So y'all had knocks at the beginning of all of this after he knocked.
Knocks and clicks, but I was able to debunk some of the clicks. The camera system they have set up were taking random still photos. So that's what some of the clicks were. So you'd walk into, like, we first walked into the murder room, and you heard a click and a click and a click. It's a motion activated camera. So when motion was present, it was taking still photos. So we were able to debunk some of that.
Gotcha.
As far as knocking, there was some persistent knocking, especially in the staircase where you weren't allowed to go into. There was a room where it was kind of taped off that nobody went in there. So,
Has anybody counted the knocks?
no, I don't believe anybody did.
Was it light knocking, or was it like real heavy, like beating on the walls?
There was some light knocking, and throughout the night there were some big bangs.
Yeah, there were some that were pretty forceful, but initially, if I'm thinking about it, it's just kind of like this kind of noise. Wasn't big. It wasn't really, and sometimes if you weren't really listening for it, if it wasn't quiet, you might miss it, because we were talking at one point and we thought we heard it, and everybody kind of shut up and looked around, but we had just missed it. It was like, it wasn't big, but there were some that were a little bit bigger. But
there were some throughout the night that were loud and right next to us too.
Yeah, that is true.
As the night went on,
there was one. There's one in particular that came from the stairwell when I don't know if we're gonna get into it yet, but when Blake was doing his experiment, and it just came from the stairwell, and it sounded like somebody slammed a door.
Yeah.
So I think this is the perfect time to tell what we did.
So we went into the well room, and we were going to show Haunted Sky Paranormal Estes Method. They really wanted to
learn how to do it,
see it in action, experience it, and all that stuff. So Shelley looked at me and said, where do you want to do it? And I don't know what compelled me to say the well room, but her and I have conversed since then, and she has said that that's the place she would have chosen too.
That's where I would have put you. Yeah, with your back to the well. That's exactly where I would have put you.
What's up,
for future reference, we will not be doing that experiment without y'all. Just totally unprepared for what happened throughout the night. Totally unprepared.
Yeah. And that's what I did. Like we went into the well room. I grabbed a chair and I put it up against the plexiglass thing that covered up. I put the back of the chair to the well, and I sat down in that chair with my back to the well directly behind me. And it was like it set it in the perfect spot because, as Shelly said, had it set on the other side, people would have had, been moving around trying to see me and all that stuff. But the whole room was open to me. So that's just where I kind of chose to put it. And what we experienced during that one was really compelling when we went back and we watched the videos, because to kind of set it up, I'm in the experiment, blindfolded, headphones on. There's a REM pod in front of me. And then in front of that, there's an EMF reader. And now what the filming that I have on my phone is from the opposite side of the table. Kayla was sitting across from me and she was filming. I think it was Kayla at the time. It may have been Heather after looking at the video.
No, Heather was sitting on the side of the room to your, it would have been to your left.
It was Kayla.
It was Kayla. that was filming.
Okay. Kayla was across from me and she was filming from her perspective straight on. And we got a couple of clips that we want to show real quick. They're just a couple of seconds long of what we were experiencing before we ended up putting Keith under. So the first one is putting me under, and I'll just play that.
That's going to be blaring in my ears.
Oh, my
Whoa, they are grabbing it.
Okay,
All
can
right.
you step back, please? If you can't step back, then I can't let him talk to you because I can't start until you're quiet. Can you please step back?
Wow.
Now, I'm going to tell y'all something. I've had that REM pod for quite some time. I've taken it into multiple locations. I've taken it into Old Park. I've taken it into Yorktown. I have never seen that thing go purple and blue. And that means that it has literally got to be like wrapped around the antenna to get that intense of a reading.
But why the well room? Can I ask?
I was drawn there. Honestly, it just flat out. It was something that had to do with that well. I don't know what, but it was in my head when Shelly said, "Where do you want to do it?" The only thing that kept coming up was well room. Go to the well room.
So I do remember the well because I have been to Gainesville. Is the well made out of limestone?
It's a stone. I don't know. I'm not an expert on stone, so I couldn't tell you.
That's a good question.
Yeah, that is a good question.
Well, I mean, because limestone is a conductor for spirit.
Yeah.
That
had been a common stone back in the 1850s.
Yes.
That had been a really common stone.
Yeah.
And up there.
And think about it too. Like if you have running water, like Shelly said, underneath that, we know that running water acts as a battery for paranormal activity.
Yes.
Yep.
So
It's very
And if
true.
the well is limestone, you got a battery feeding a beacon.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
And it's just to kind of wrap up what your question was, Stacy, about why the well room. I just felt almost compelled to do it there because I felt like something wanted to talk there. And I felt that out of the entire house, that was going to be the location that it was going to talk.
And I did not disagree with him either. I was like, "You're right. That's where I'm like, that's where I would have put you anyway. That's where I would have said to go." So it wasn't just that he was drawn to it. That's where I was going to put him if he had said, "Well, I don't care where you want to go." That's where I would have taken him.
But why? Did y'all investigate in the well room a lot? Were you in the well room? Did something interesting happen in the well room?
No. A lot of the activity gravitated towards what they would call the murder room, is the back room past the well, and then that bathroom. That's where a lot of the activity happened. The well room was relatively dead, I would say, calm.
So
And
it was
whenever I
it
had
was
been there
interesting.
before, I got nothing in the well room. I got all my activity upstairs. And well, I just decided to flip the script on me this time. So Blake, you want to show him the next clip? Because we've got Blake. We're getting ready to put him under and to see what happens with him.
We've now got me under. And on this next one, particularly pay attention to the EMF reader in front, because we do get a reading on the REM pod and you can see the EMF reader and the reading that it gets.
Can you tell me what I'm supposed to get? I'll go get anything you want.
Oh my God. 3.
Oh God. Okay, no, we're not doing the 3.
I got something.
Okay. We're gonna move off the 3. You can stop with that.
Yeah.
Okay, don't
Very
talk.
mockingly.
Don't
Yeah.
talk. Okay, so are you upset that I'm leading this? Would you like somebody else to talk? Because when I tell you we ain't gonna talk about 3, you start turning into an asshole. We ain't gonna do that.
Oh my God.
We ain't gonna do that. See, I'm not even gonna ask you more questions about that. Step away. Step away, please.
Selectively?
You're right. I'll only talk about that selectively.
did I see that EMF detector jump to 34?
Yes, you did.
Jesus Christ.
34, and that's to me probably the most compelling portion of this, is because not only am I getting a word selectively, but right before that, it jumps to yellow, which is basically, if you're doing levels, it's the second level on a REM pod, and it reads 34.1. That's 3 different
Verifications.
verifications, pieces of equipment, if you want to look at it that way, documenting that something was in fact saying something in my head. So I don't think I've ever seen an EMF spike that high, that quick of a 34.1. Yeah.
No, I've not seen that. And with that going off, and then with the REM pod going off, that's a very strong disturbance in the electromagnetic field just contained in that room.
Yeah.
Yes.
So then the last one is, as Keith was just speaking about, the noises on the back staircase. We actually captured that. Now the first one's a little faint, the second one's a lot louder, but you hear Shelly reacting to them, and it's the response I give is interesting.
Okay. Well, we don't got to dance. Is that what we were doing? Were we dancing? Well, you're done dancing with me, so I guess I'll stop. What was that?
Yeah, I heard that too.
Can you tell Blake and someone?
Guy said something, but he's under the white noise. I couldn't make it out.
Everybody's in here, right?
No.
There he was again, but I couldn't make it
They're
out.
in the other room on the couch.
Yeah, Jackson and Dylan are on the couch in there. Is that you rattling that door?
Negative. Nobody on the staircase.
It's somebody who walks, and then it trailed out again.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So as I said, the first one's a little bit hard to hear, but that second one, I mean, you hear the da-dunk. And of course I'm under, but everybody else, Shelly, what did it sound like to you? I mean, and Keith, y'all both were in the room.
It sounded like somebody coming down that damn staircase, which is why I went to it with flashlights on going, okay, who's playing around? And the other compelling part is that I say, is everybody in here? And they say, no, there's 2 in the other room. So there was no one upstairs and no one on the back staircase. And actually someone went to check, and I believe it was Jackson and Dylan were in the parlor area. Everyone else was accounted for in that room. There was nobody that should have been on that staircase. No human that made that noise. And whenever you say after, I was walking. It's like you gave a direct response to what just happened. Go ahead, Keith. I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. The louder one sounded to me more like a door rattling, like somebody tried to open the door without twisting the handle, is what it sounded like to me. It was like a doo-doo-doo. So like they tried to grab the door and open it without twisting the handle is what it sounded like to me. And there, sure enough, in that little hallway, there is a closet door there. So.
Yeah. I mean, like I was under, so I have no idea what it sounded like, only until I replayed it. I was like, oh shit, that's what they meant. Okay.
So it's funny because when we started that clip, I say, you're done dancing with me. Well, whenever I do the Estes method, I pace. And I pace and I walk constantly, trying to keep the energy level up, because a lot of people are sitting still and sitting quiet. And so I want to walk. And that's just what I do. I walk and I pace, and I keep moving the entire time I'm doing the Estes method to keep the energy level up. And I stopped, and he goes, I'm done dancing with you. This is what Blake gets through. I'm done dancing with you. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'll stop moving. I guess he thought we were dancing the way I was moving. And I was moving back and forth on one side. I mean, I guess I walked crazy enough they thought I was dancing. Shit, I don't know. But it was just kind of like, okay, that was weird. That was very strange.
Well, and that video, honestly, we've got all our videos from Hill House Manor are live as of right now on our YouTube channel. So you can check those out. I mean, they're the full raw and edited versions of these, and you can hear that response that I give. You can hear Shelly's footsteps. If there's one that I would tell you to go watch besides what we're getting ready to talk about, it would be my Estes method that I did, because the answers I gave were so straightforward. And not only that, every time I gave an answer, the EMF readers went off, the REM pod went off. And when the REM pod went off, the EMF detector detected an EMF disturbance. It is an insanely compelling video.
Yeah.
And so knowing that, and in the moment, I'm going to publicly apologize to you, Keith, because us having done this for as long as we've done this, we should have known in that moment not to put someone in that position to do the Estes method when we had that kind of activity. But we were excited about the activity. We said, who wants to go next? And Keith was kind enough to volunteer. Bet you wish you hadn't volunteered now, huh, Keith?
Yeah, I was quick to raise my hand, but
you were very quick to raise your hand.
I'll go. For me being a skeptic, I was like, for sure, why not? But
what's
after
the worst
that
can happen?
What's the worst going to happen? Right after, I believe, Blake's, I jumped right on there, but I wanted to touch on a couple more instances we had upstairs as far as activity went.
Yeah.
When Heather and a couple other people were in the kids room, they got a lot of activity, and they got a lot of names, or at least one name, a little girl named Alice. So they got a lot of a little girl named Alice, and they came down and they were talking about her. And I've watched a lot of ghost hunting shows, and Zach Baggin being one of the biggest ones. He's always like, well, little girls like to present, or demons like to present themselves as little children, as innocent. So you open yourself up for conversation to them. So I called this little girl out on that on the front porch before we go any farther on that. And then also, when me and Joe were upstairs gambling with Cowboy, I had my video recorder running, and it just turned off. It turned off. I thought it drained the battery. It was able to turn back on, and one of the dollar bills moved by itself.
No, we had that too, Shelly. You and I did. We had a dollar bill move.
But that's where Shelly caught that shadow by that chairs upstairs by that poker table. So I wanted to touch on that. While you were talking, I wrote that down in my notes. So
another note taker, Shelly, your spirit animal.
So, Keith, quick question.
Yes, sir.
Did you call this little girl out right before your Estes method, or was after the fact?
Not right, but when they were talking about the little girl, we were on the front porch. It was before either of us did our Estes methods.
Oh, okay.
So I was like,
that's interesting.
That's not a little girl. That's something portraying to be a little girl, to portray innocence. So you open yourself up to it, so you're more vulnerable. I was mocking it on the front porch, basically.
Keith,
you did all kinds of crap we weren't aware of.
Obviously, yeah. So
Stacey, I'm gonna throw that to you. Yeah.
You say that you're a skeptic. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So why would you call out something that you were skeptic of?
Because I watched a lot of TV shows.
Okay.
That's a great answer.
Honestly, I mean, that's what it is. They say it,
I appreciate the honesty. I really do. I was just asking because due to the fact that you just said you called out a demon that you feel was a demon portraying itself as a little girl.
Well, I didn't say it was a demon. I was like, they portray themselves as little girls, Right. I was like, so just because it's something I've seen on TV like 100 times, because my wife is really big into those shows. So we watch them almost religiously every night.
Oh, I do
I've seen all the episodes of Ghost Adventures probably about 20 times.
And remember, there's a difference between paranormal investigation and paranormal entertainment.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I'm going to say about that.
So can I ask you a question, Keith? What would make you, have you done that at other investigations as far as,
calling it out?
Yeah.
No. We've never been to another investigation where there's been allegations of a little girl on, coming through, recording, talking, and saying it's a little girl and her name's Alice. We've never been on location like that. So as soon as they were talking, I was like, they portray themselves as little kids to open yourselves up. And so, I mean,
Stacey, I'm actually going to ask you a question about that. Do you think that there are actually children spirits that can be trapped here, or do you think 9 times out of 10 it's what Keith is saying?
No, I do believe that there's, and this is just my belief, I don't speak for anyone else, but I do believe that there are little kid spirits that are trapped here, not necessarily trapped here, but lost. I believe that they've left, and the security of mom and dad are not there. They had no idea what the white light was for, if that is what you believe. But I believe, yes, that there are children's spirits here. But Keith is correct. There are demons and that do go out and portray themselves as children.
Do you think more often than not, though, do you think that that's what that is? Or do you think that it's most likely if you encounter a children's spirit, it's actually a child?
Okay, right. Here we go.
Okay.
I love this.
Now I'm probably going to get a lot of hate mail from this, but I'm going to say this really quick.
If they send you hate mail, you can send them my way. I'll beat them up.
Thank you. So let me explain to you. I do believe in demons. I study demonology. I am not a demonologist. I'm not even sure what a demonologist does except for study demons. I do that. And I do believe in demons. And I'm not going to say that I don't. But I do not believe, as far as Zach Bagan, the other girl, what is her name?
It don't matter.
The psychic girl.
Shows.
As far as I'm concerned, I do not feel like everything that is dead or evil
Is negative.
is a demon.
Mhm.
There are bad spirits out there. I believe in my own beliefs. This doesn't have anything to do with anybody else, but I believe if you were evil in life, if you were lost in life, if you've done unkind things in life and you were afraid to face your maker, then you're stuck here and this is your purgatory. Now, fair game as far as I'm concerned, right?
Mhm.
So,
I
but I
agree.
don't believe that
I agree.
that everything that attacks everything that we have surrounding us is demons. I don't. I do believe that evil spirits can attack people. I've been attacked. I don't believe I was attacked by a demon. I believe that it was an evil spirit. I've been taken over, you know. So my beliefs are just it's not necessarily just because something evil's going on in your house, you have a demon. And you know, you should call your priest. You should definitely get your house blessed, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a demon that's there.
Yeah,
Thank you for saying that, Stacy, because we kind of we're kind of along the same wavelength, that not everything that's negative is a demon, and we don't, you know, like we've talked about before, we don't cry demon unless we have had numerous times where we have encountered something so negative and truly evil that we kind of come to a collective agreement that this is not what we thought it might have been, that we can truly rule out just a negative spirit. And like I said, only 2 places I think ever that I've encountered a demon. One of them Shoretown, and we'll talk about the other one in another episode. So we're gonna have you back on for
I
that
have a question for Stacy. When we were talking about the children being, you said there are children here. Are we specifically talking about the Hill House Manor or in the world in general?
Now,
Because
Stacy
you
has
visited
investigated that place.
She's visited there. She's been there before. So are you saying there's children spirits there or in the world in general?
I'm going to be honest with you, Keith. I did not come across a child spirit while I was at Gainesville.
Okay.
I came across evil.
Okay.
So I do not. I totally agree with that fact that that Hill House in Gainesville has an evil spirit. Now I'm not going to I'm not going to come on here and say, oh, it's a demon, because I
wasn't trying to call it a demon either. I was just because of what I heard on TV. I was like, you know, a bad spirit or a demon or say themselves as a child. I'm not going to say it was a demon. It probably would have done a lot more if it had a hold of me like it did. You know,
I'm glad it wasn't no demon.
I'm glad.
Child, you were all we could handle in the moment.
Because I'm actually going to go on record and say that I don't believe it was a demon either. Now I believe that it was an evil spirit.
Yeah.
I do believe that there is evil in that house. I 100% believe that.
You can feel it when you walk in. You can feel it when you walk in the house.
Do you want to tell what happened? What was your experience at Hill Manor? What happened to your sister-in-law?
So we were at in Gainesville, and we were with a different paranormal group, and there was a psychic there who wanted to do a seance, and so my daughter was with me at the time, and my daughter really wanted to try it, so I went ahead and did it. And just like Keith, I was a very big skeptic. So we all sit in a circle, and to be honest, Keith, the psychic came up with a kid's spirit, and so we were just sitting there. Now, I'm not one for channeling. My mind goes 90 to nothing when I ain't got nothing else to do but sit there and look in the dark. So I wasn't really good at it, but there were a lot of people that were, really into it. And next thing I noticed was my right hand was getting really squeezed, and like I was being pushed down, and I was like, what the hell is going on over here? So I looked at her and said, sit up straight. And the girl beside my sister-in-law was like, y'all, something's wrong with her. And I was like, we need to break this up. So I pulled her up, and she started fighting me, and not fighting like fist fighting, but she started like not wanting to go out.
Resisting.
Yes. So we got outside, and man, I was just like, you're going to let her go. And if anybody knows me, my mouth does go overboard.
Again, we're an 18+ show.
Yeah.
There's the
Hey, you say
and
everything
by
you
the
want.
way, you guys, if every ordained minister I knew cursed like Stacy cursed, I'd be in church every Sunday. I've been like, oh, she'd be like, oh yeah, bring him down, Lord.
Let's clarify. I'm an ordained minister due to the fact that I want to study and cleanse and the holy manner. I'm not a priest. I'm not a preacher. So I don't live the holy life, but thank God we have people that do. But finally I got her to let go of me, and I got her to, sit down, and we were starting to try to get her to breathe. And then the next thing I know, my 16-year-old daughter grabs me and falls down. So it went from me to her. So we took them both outside, and we got them to calm down and got them saged and got them cleansed and got their crystals and started, doing the whole thing. And so, I went back in there and I said, "You sorry motherfucker, you ever do that shit to my kid again, you can get me. Sorry guys." But yeah, so
No, that's pretty, I completely understand. If that had been my child,
yeah,
I'd have been burning the house down.
So I do have a comment that popped up, Stacy, and it's kind of, I would say it's for you. But I think Gypsy actually answered it for you, but I do want to get your take on it. And it says, so what are the main differences between evil and demonic? Now I will read you Gypsy's answer, and her answer was, evil is a spirit that did bad things in life and doing bad things in the spirits, and they're usually angry and are acting out. Demonic is a creature that was never human and is evil and a demon.
That is absolutely correct.
Sounds like a good answer to me.
A demonic being is something that was never here. It was conjured up. It was Ouija boards,
summoned,
Estes, channeling, seances. It's a conjured up being,
entity. Yeah.
So, well, I'm not even going to call it that because I'm not going to give it that much power. But it's a being, and it's a very evil being. And there are different names for different beings that supposedly exist on this world. I will not go that far with it, but that's an absolute great answer, Gypsy. Great answer.
Thank you, Gypsy.
Gypsy over there knocking out.
Gypsy's on it. Yeah, she's on it for us.
So now that we know that this has occurred before,
yes.
and in retrospect, I do recall Stacy having told me that story of her experience at Hill Manor. But somehow or another, in the time that I went back to Hill Manor, I think I forgot because that wasn't what I was thinking about. And again, Keith, I'm going to give you a public apology because Blake, you and I have talked about this, and this is something that's weighed really heavy on us. We have racked our brains to try to figure out what did we miss?
Yeah.
What did we miss? Because whenever a new person does the Estes method for the very first time, they never get more than 5 minutes. Never. Because number one, we don't know how they're going to react. We don't know their cues, their triggers, their body language. So we try to make sure we keep a really close eye on whoever it is that's doing it, and they don't get more than 5 minutes. Now, Keith, you were under for 3 minutes and 24 seconds.
That ain't no very good time.
When we realized something was wrong. And in all fairness, it wasn't us that realized something was wrong. It was Kayla.
Yeah.
Kayla.
Props to her. Props to her.
So Blake, are we ready to play this, and then we'll get Keith's reaction on this, or?
Yeah, we can do that, or let's just roll it. So I'm just going to go ahead and Keith tell you that this is going to be played in its entirety.
Okay.
It's going to be about a 5-minute clip.
I've watched it about 20 times.
Okay, good.
We weren't sure if you had seen it before, and we thought, okay, we better be prepared if he has not watched it all the way through, that if you choose to go, okay, I'm out, we're good with it.
I get the chills every time I watch it.
Yeah, I do too. But I will say that this is the moment for anybody watching that the disturbing content is about to take place. It is going to be about a 5-minute video, but it is everything in its entirety of us pulling Keith out of the Estes method and what transpired after that.
I haven't seen anybody smoke. Can I light up a cigarette for this video?
You can do whatever you want to do. So let's let him get it lit before we play it.
Okay.
All right. Here we go.
Are the people talking? Are y'all talking over each other so Keith can understand what you're saying? If so, I'd like to ask that you please speak one at a time so that Keith can be able to understand what you're trying to say.
Is Keith okay?
Yeah, that was my next question. But he's only been under 3.5 minutes. Yeah, really
He looks like he's falling.
But I'm not seeing any signs of him.
He doesn't look like he's in distress in any way. He seems pretty relaxed
He
so far.
Like doesn't he look like he's slouching?
He looks like he's sleeping. He's breathing heavy.
Oh yeah, actually he is. Okay, let's go ahead and pull it. Yeah, I don't want that thing to. Okay. He's asleep.
Oh my god.
Okay. Let's take it off. Okay.
Shut up.
Okay. That's why he wasn't talking. Hey, Keith. It just said something right then. Hey, Keith. Hey, you all right?
You good?
You all right? Okay, sit still.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Once I remove my hand, you are no longer able to speak or communicate through Keith. You will not use him as a conduit in any way. You will not communicate through him in any way, shape, or form. You do not have my permission. You don't have Blake's permission. You don't have his permission. You do not have the group's permission. And once I remove my hand, the circle is closed. Is the group agreed?
Agreed.
The circle is now closed. Are you okay?
What?
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay, what just happened?
I don't know.
Okay, you started talking, and then all of a sudden you weren't talking anymore. What was going on?
Did you fall asleep?
No, I didn't fall asleep.
Okay, I have to remove my hand, but I'm not sure he's good yet. Blake, can we try to channel off some of his energy?
Yeah.
Okay, we're asking that anything that's hanging out with Keith, you're welcome to come through us and come through us and leave Keith, please. You don't have permission to use him. You don't have permission to manipulate him in any form or fashion. And we're going to ask that you please come off. You're welcome to channel it through me and Blake and come away from Keith. Keith, I need for you to tell whatever's on you to go ahead and leave. You just tell it to leave. Huh? I need you to say you need to leave. Okay, I need you to say you need to leave. And if not, we're going to have to take you out. We're going to have to sedge you. Yeah, we need to take him out. Okay. Guys, come on, Keith. We're going to go outside, okay? Guys, yeah, we're going to have to go outside. Come on. Yep, we're going to get up, guys. Let's take a walk outside. We're going to move him outside.
Fuck this shit.
Fuck this shit. Come on, yeah, we're going to help you up. We're going to help you get over there. Okay, good job. Good job, you got it, guys.
Because he hasn't had much to drink. Is he okay? Well, let's not keep him. Oh my god, look at his face. I'm still recording.
You got it now.
Want to go to the park?
Yeah, come on, let's get you a cigarette. You want to
No,
smoke?
you gotta cross. You gotta cross. You want to cross?
There you go. Okay, you know what? You got it. Go ahead.
Keith, come on.
Go ahead. We're not going to fight. I'm asking if you can keep
Come on, Keith.
You don't have to.
He doesn't want to leave.
He won't leave.
He
doesn't want to go outside the house. Yeah.
Careful. Come on. You have to come off. You have to come off.
Oh my god.
You have to come off.
Keith, come on.
Okay.
He's out. You okay, babe? Is she freaking out?
She's freaking out. Go get her. She's freaking out.
Hey, come on. Let's go to the street. Let's go to the street, buddy. Come on. Let's go to the street. Let's go to the street. Come on.
What?
Across the street. On the
Come on.
Yeah, it can do that.
do that. It's all right. We just got to get him outside. I got you in the
Kaylin, are you okay, honey?
No, she's seen something else. Did y'all see her release him as soon as he crossed the threshold?
Yeah. Hey. You okay?
It's okay, Caitlin. It's okay. It's all right now. I need you to get Caitlin.
Holy shit.
Whoa.
Oh my God.
Damn. Okay. Questions.
I got upset. I heard Kayla crying. Yeah.
That was Caitlin. That was
Excuse
Caitlin
me.
crying. Yeah. She will not be joining us anymore on hunts. She's opted out of the group.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Was it just too much, or she just?
It was her first time ever
Oh, okay.
hunting. Yeah. And she showed up with her boyfriend, and like they were saying, I'd had much to drink. I had one whiskey and Dr. Pepper, and it was a half shot of whiskey because we were doing our investigation. But it was my wife's birthday, so I was celebrating a little bit, and we had a bunch of friends come with us to celebrate as well. And it was their first hunt, period, ever.
So when you, so in the video we saw when you just stopped responding. on the Estes Method. Do you remember what? I mean, did you just black out? Do you remember what happened? Did you see? Did you hear anything?
I remember putting on the headphones.
Okay.
And the blindfold, and next thing you know, I woke up on the ground.
So you remember absolutely nothing from the time the headphones to the. Okay.
Absolutely nothing. Part of the video was cut out because I said a couple things during the Estes Method.
Yeah.
And one of them, it was almost immediately. I said, "Ooh, this feels good!" Like really fast though. Said, "Ooh, this feels good." And I think the second Shelly asked a question, I was like, "I need to talk to you." And I believe those were the only two things I said until they pulled the blindfold off, according to the video. So.
And the only reason why we didn't have that audio is because the clip that I got didn't have the audio didn't come through. So the only thing I was able to get audio video of was what we just watched.
So I'm sorry. Sorry. So on the video that you just posted, I don't know if y'all saw that shadow going up the stairs after he passed out.
No.
Yes.
No, I did not.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you see the point where I fell backwards into the case?
Yes.
Joe, the guy who I was choking out, who's trying to get me out.
There's also a shadow there.
Yeah. He said when we fell back, it felt like something was trying to pull me up the stairs.
Yeah.
Huh.
That makes that wow, that's intriguing because at that moment was when Joe was trying to pull you out. Me and Shelly were trying to push you out. You ended up coming across that first threshold, and then you
hear him yell no.
Yeah, he goes no, and you grab onto the door. And this is from our perspective of what we experienced. And it was like your wingspan just stretched as far as you possibly could to grab the other door frame into the parlor as you're pulling this door with you. Me and Shelly since talked about it, and I don't know what we kind of figured was you were attempting to shut the door, and Joe was out like across the threshold trying to pull you. And thank God that gave on that other door frame at that point, because that was the moment we were able to get you out. Because had that not, and had you latched on to something else and you were able to get that door closed, what scares the shit out of me is that the only two left inside with you would have been me and Shelly, who do not have a familial attachment to you. And it makes sense about you being pulled up the stairs, because when you grab that, you lunge back this way, and you ended up pushing me into a door frame.
You pretty much you had like superhuman strength, and Blake got slung into the wall and marked him pretty good. At the time, whenever this has happened, I'm prying your fingers. I'm trying to keep my hand on you, going, I can't take my hand off of him. Let's get out. You have to come off of him. And I'm prying your fingers from this side. And about the time your fingers come loose, you sling Blake into the door frame, catch on. Tell the interesting thing about that trim, what he grabbed onto, Blake.
Okay. So on older homes, on doorways, you have the main boards that make up the door frame. Then you have a very tiny little piece of trim that usually goes, it's just to stop the door. That's what it's there for. It goes usually all the way around, or on two sides. You grabbed onto with just your fingertips that itty bitty piece of trim. That was it. And that piece of trim is 1/4 of an inch thick at most. And you had so much of a grip on that. I was literally on this hand after Shelly pried you loose,
pulling it,
literally doing like this. You got down to 2 fingers, and you slid your fingers up under that door trim, pulled it sideways with the nails. So you bent the nails and then pulled it off the door frame.
That is insane.
Yeah.
And whenever we say he had his strength was literally superhuman. There were at one point there were 4 of us trying to get him out the door, and then whenever Joe got to the front and was trying to pull you out, and you were fighting him, and I mean, I'm behind you pushing, Blake's behind you shoving you, we're prying fingers and pushing, and it took all of us to get you through that door. Now, the second you crossed that threshold, you released and down you went.
Absolutely.
And I got to tell you, that terrified me. I have never been that scared in my life, because and what you don't see in that video is that you hear Blake say, get him on the grass, and you hear Blake say, get him off the property. What I'm doing is I am running across the street to get sage. I'm going, who's got a lighter? I need a lighter. I gotta light some sage. And I'm going to get sage. And then they decide they're going to, and we're like taking farther off the property. You don't see this part, but we're like taking farther off, getting him across the street. And we actually ended up walking down the block.
Yeah.
So Keith, in those moments right after, tell me, what were you feeling? You got up off the ground and you still seemed confused and fuzzy. What was going
confused. I was confused as fuck. I didn't know what the hell happened. I don't know how I ended up outside. All I know is people were pushing me away from the house. And then when they're like, you're gonna get saged, I figured something happened. I didn't know at that point until they started talking about it when we got across the house. That everybody else was worried about getting me away from the property at that point. So when they started talking about it while I was being saged, and I realized something fucking happened. Excuse my language, but something.
Okay.
Oh, right, you're good, man.
And they're talking about it, and Blake's lifting up his shirt, and I thought I fucking hurt Blake. I thought I hurt Joe, because Joe's like, you were fucking choking me. Like, he's like, when I tried to pick you up out of that chair, it felt like I was picking up a ton of bricks. And then as soon as I got you out of the chair, you wrapped your arms around my neck and were choking me the whole way out of the house. I was scared. I hurt somebody. I mean, I have no recollection after I put on the headphones and the blindfold until I hit that ground.
That was interesting. Whenever you mentioned about the chair, that we had to pry you out of that chair. I said, do you want to get up? And you go, no. And you were just like, no to me. And I'm like, get him out of the chair. And that's when Joe comes over to get you. And you wrapped your legs around that chair. And I literally had to jerk that chair out from underneath you because I kept trying to pull it out. And you were wrapping your legs around it like a snake and just kind of, and I was just like, oh, hell no, you're going out. And yanked that out from underneath you. And that's whenever you just went at Joe. And that was just crazy. That was crazy.
I heard Caitlin cry. I heard, oh, yes, ma'am.
Sorry. So who is Joe to you?
He is my nephew.
He's your nephew?
Yes, ma'am.
Can I ask you a question? Have you ever done the Estes Method at all?
No, ma'am.
Had you ever seen it be done?
Via their podcast, yes.
Oh, through Blake and Shelley. Okay.
Through Blake and Shelley, yes.
So I have a question for you, Blake or Shelley. What was that noise?
I don't know. What was that? Was that a motorcycle?
Yeah, I'm outside traffic.
Okay. So how long was he under before y'all noticed that he was out?
3 minutes and 24 seconds.
So how many answers was he communicating before that?
2.
He said 2 words. So before y'all noticed that Keith was leaning, it was at 3 minutes and 22 seconds.
Right.
But Keith, you don't remember going out.
No, ma'am. I don't remember speaking. I don't remember anything.
I was gonna say the weirdest part of it is, and the reason why me and Shelley are kind of, I'm not gonna lie, I'll speak for myself. I don't know about Shelley, but racked with guilt a little bit about it.
Yeah, that's
accurate. because we have led multiple Estes methods. I think besides Keith on this podcast right now, we've all led multiple Estes methods,
and we've all led each other.
Yeah, we know what to look for. We know what the signs are, but I told Shelley this and Ryan this actually last night. I said, I think it was a combination of the absolute perfect storm. I think that what it was you had a paranormal team that was very big gamers, massive gamers, loves to go on the, and yes, play along, do all that stuff. You had another paranormal group that was experiencing something that they were excited about. And see,
nothing but food.
Just totally lost my train of thought. But yes, it was just nothing. And I think it came to a point where me and Shelley didn't stop long enough to realize the answers that I was getting in my Estes method, that maybe putting Keith under next right after me was not the best of ideas. If we were going to put anybody under, it should have been Shelley.
Should have been me. Just because of the activity level that we got with Blake. And normally, you guys know this, when we do the Estes method, normally after somebody does it, we take a break and kind of break that energy up. And again, Blake, we've all discussed this on the phone. We don't know why we did it. And to be honest, I can't, I've been so like guilt, just guilt ridden. Like Blake said, these movements were so small. That how did I miss it? And how did both of us miss it?
Yeah,
how did Blake and
that was the biggest thing, because like he had the spirit box like this, and he was holding it kind of like this, and he was kind of slightly looking down. Nothing moved on him except for this right here, and it was micro movements at a time. I mean, and so being in the dark and all that stuff, like you couldn't see how like that he was drooping. That was the thing until Kayla said something, and she was like, "He doesn't look right. He looks like he's slouching." you know, a little bit. And that's when we started clicking the lights on, look at him. And when Shelly, when your light hit his chest from the side, I sat there and watched, and it wasn't a deep breath like you were sleeping, Keith. It was a deep breath that it was something else.
Intentional breath.
Yes. And it was like a very, like, just over and over, your chest rose so high and fell so far. And that's when Shelly was like, we need to get him out.
Well, he said this feels good before that happened.
That was the first things he said.
Yep.
So, I mean,
and then he said, I have to talk to you. And I go, oh, you want to talk to me? Well, here I am. Let's talk. I think it was probably saying, I want to talk to you, like get your butt in the Estes Method. And I was telling Blake and him, I'm like, I'd have been a lot easier to drag the hell out of that house if I'd have been the one that got jumped.
But I did say, if Shelly would have pulled a piece of board off the wall with her bare hands, I would have shit my pants in that moment. Okay,
they got it was key.
Yes.
But what were you saying when he said this feels good? I think that was the beginning of the takeover, because maybe that was the first time it had access to a living body in a long time. And then, he
a
tried
living body that wasn't that, again, and being that Keith had never done it before, that didn't realize what they needed to be aware of. And that was our fault, Keith, for not prepping you correctly,
And that's why it fought you so hard all the way out the door, because it just did not want to let go, because it was like, hey, I'm here now, in the moment, and it just didn't want to release Keith.
One of the things that I would like to tell Keith is that anytime that you're channeling or scrying or using a Ouija board or going on a ghost hunt or walking into a closet that you ain't never walked to in your life, the number one thing that you should always tell someone is how you're feeling at that moment. So I know for a fact that when you sat down in that chair and you put on those headphones, you were already feeling weird.
I didn't feel it. I mean, I honestly didn't feel it. I felt weird after the whole night. I actually had to end my investigation after this. I had to physically stop.
Right.
When Shelly did her Estes experiment, I went in there and I tried to sit down and watch it, but I kept getting these bouts of aggression. Like anytime I walked out of that lighted room or in that hallway, I felt aggression. I had to physically quit the night.
Are you telling me you went back in the house?
Yes.
He stayed outside for over an hour, though.
I stayed outside for over an hour,
yeah.
But when I went back in the house, I went in, I got something to drink, not alcoholic. I started drinking Dr. Peppers, and I was watching the cameras. And when I wanted to see Shelly do it, so I walked in the well room when Shelly was doing hers, and I sat down by the bay window, away from everybody, just in case something happened again. But I kept feeling these bouts of aggression all night. If I left that room, I felt aggression. So I physically had to quit. I had to get in the night for me.
And Keith, didn't you, whenever I was doing the Estes Method, didn't you actually get aggressive with me? Like, if I remember correctly, you said that at one point Keith was asking, who is it that did this to me? And his voice was very aggressive.
I wanted to know what messed with me. And I did say it aggressive because I was pissed off. I'm confused.
I don't blame
you. But I was aggressive. I felt aggression as soon as I walked out of that lit room or back into that hallway.
Yeah.
Keith, in the following days, did you have anything weird happen to you after that, or did you feel weird after the investigation was over?
I was sore. I felt like I just wrestled a bull. Honestly, I was sore as fuck.
So did we.
But I still had to continue with my daily life because I got a job and everything. But I was sore. I woke up, my arms were weak, nothing really mentally, but I got away from Gainesville and away from that house. I haven't had any after effects. I get the chills from watching the video or talking about it. Anytime it's mentioned, I get the chills, but it's just an after effect of knowing what could have happened and what did happen. So
did you feel like you were completely drained afterwards as well?
After I decided to end my investigation that night, and I stayed in that room and talked with a couple of my friends that were there because they kind of ended it with me. We stayed in there, and I ended up, I was starving for one. I got hungry as hell, and I got tired. I ended up passing the hell out. I fell asleep that night in that house.
Wow.
And we were actually, In the parlor. We were actually everybody was actually supposed to spend the night there because we had it till 12 o'clock the next day. After that, nobody spent the night. We're all like, no, we're leaving. But they continued on till about, I guess you
About
call it the
4.
witching hour. It's about the haunting hour. And then it dispersed after that. And after that, I've been fine. I just sore the next day.
Yeah. I think that's the consensus of everybody, honestly, that was there, especially anybody who was helping to remove you from the house, because I do know that the next day I was completely sore. I mean, my arm obviously was sore from being shoved into a door frame, but it was more of a mental exhaustion. The paranormal hangover for me after this experience was way worse than any other place than I had ever been. That's including Yorktown, that it gets really weird with me after. It takes me like a week to recover from Yorktown. This one took me about the same, but the feelings were drastically worse the couple of days after.
So now, Brian, whenever this all initially happened to Keith, after we got him saged, who got the phone call?
I did.
And what did we say?
Shelly, your patent shit, fuck, shit, fuck. She said, "You will not believe the shit that just happened," and told me all about it. And in the middle of you telling me,
panicked? Did I sound panicked?
You sounded, yeah.
You couldn't finish sentences at one point, Shelly.
Then you got pissed. Then you got mad.
Well, I walked out while you were on the phone with him, and you couldn't even finish sentences. You looked at me and you said, "Just tell him what happened."
I said, talk to Ryan. I got to go back in there. And you're like, wait for me. You're like,
and you said, and y'all both said, "Hey, we'll call you back." You were so, I'm gonna go in there. I'm gonna do the Estes. I'm gonna talk to these sons of bitches. Fuck them. They can't.
Wait, can I do it? Can I do it though? Can I do it? Okay, so we go back in and we walk in and we're both kind of pissed at this point, but Shelly was just irate. And she walks in, she goes through the living room, she walks into the well room, and I think Jackson was sitting there, and he was looking at equipment and all this stuff, and I think Shelly made him piss his pants, honestly, because I don't think she had made it in the room yet, and she just goes, "Listen, you motherfucker!" And she's just like, "You're not the fucking Prince of Darkness. You're not anything." And I was like, "Oh shit!" And then she finishes it off by telling them, "Why don't you go walk right up to the Prince of Darkness and tell him exactly what you're doing, and then have him laugh at you," and then whips her head around and goes, "Are you ready to do the Estes Method?" And I was like, "Yes, I'm so ready right now. Let's go, Shelly."
I believe I said, "Are you ready to do the Estes Method?" Because I'm about to talk these.
Yeah,
I believe that was my words.
That was the whole sentence. Yeah.
But you guys have been on investigations, and Stacy, you're guilty of this too. If they piss you off, you're not backing down. You're going to call them every name in the book, because we don't start it, but we're going to finish it up.
Exactly.
And at that point, I was mad because, number one, I had the hell scared out of me because I was worried for Keith's safety, and I was worried for Blake's. I was worried for everybody's safety that was in that room. And then you gonna make me have to drag somebody out of here? You know what? I did my hair for this. Don't make me mess up my hair. That really pisses me off. And then sage. Now we burned all this sage and we've done all this. And now guess what? You're gonna have to deal with me. And Stacy, you've had to walk back in and double birds and like, let's do this.
Speaking of sage, I think you used all your good sage, didn't you?
I used all of it. I used
Yeah, you did. You did.
I went and got extra sage. I'm like, if this one don't work, I got this one too, because this one's a little bit stronger. We're gonna start with the big one, then we're gonna work our way down. And
that's what you said at the trunk of your car. We were looking for the appropriate sage,
and I'm like, nope.
You literally looked at me and go, "Fuck it, we're going with this. This is the best one right now. We'll work our way down." Okay.
And not only whenever we took him over there, and I'm saging him. I made him stand still, and I lit sage behind him. I had sage sticks going around him. I'm like, no, you got to stand this direction, because that way the sage blowing on you.
They made me take my sandals off.
Oh yeah,
yes.
Beating the grass.
Beating the grass.
Yes.
Yeah.
The best way to ground yourself is to put yourself on Mother Nature. A clean Mother Nature, not none with dog poop,
Yeah.
You don't step barefoot in dog poop.
I think if I'd have stepped in dog shit that night, I'd probably lost it.
Yeah, that would have probably been the best thing that happened to you all night.
Now, did y'all have anything else happen after that, or was it quiet, or did it kick up anymore, or no?
Funny you should ask.
Oh.
Yeah, we went in after that. We did Shelly's Estes and got a couple of responses. It's on our YouTube channel. The ending was the most interesting part, because I think we started to piss it off again, because me and Shelly both at the same time were getting responses from her of things that are saying like, you're not brave enough. And that was
How the fuck you know you talking to?
well, that was one of the responses she got. She says it out loud, but the thing is,
I was thinking the same thing.
Is right before that, she says out loud, I'm not going to repeat that. And again, for anybody who hasn't watched our other episodes, the reason why we say that is because we don't want to give it power. We don't want to feed it that. So we just say, I'm not saying that. Well, at that same time, I said, because she had told me again, don't turn your back to me.
And you turned your back.
And I turned my
was in
back.
there during that.
Yep. And I turned my.
I was already feeling the aggression by that time. You know, I was already pissed off, and then sitting back there as y'all are antagonizing, I started feeling. I got even more pissed when y'all started antagonizing it.
And she said, I won't say that, and had already told me to turn my back. I turned my back, and I said at about the same time she said I won't say that, I said, I'm not afraid of you. And Shelly's response that I now believe was to both of us. She comes back and goes, you're not brave enough. And I look back at her and I go, I'm not afraid of you. And then Shelly, I think you said, I'll get him or get him or something along those lines. And right at that moment, that REM pod shot to yellow. As soon as she said, get him. And there was something inside of me that says, it just screamed, pull her out right now. And I have no idea why. Shelly, you were in for 7.5 minutes. We usually let our investigators go anywhere between maybe 10, 15, somewhere in there. Because we've done it many times. We know what to look for. And 7.5 minutes, I wouldn't have pulled you, but something inside my brain just went, pull her now. And I mean, it was to the point, like, it made me almost jump at you. I threw my hand on you, pulled you out, and you got agitated with me. You were like, why did you pull me?
I did. I said, I can go longer than that. Why did you pull me? I'm fine. I would have tapped out. And when we're outside, I'm telling him, I'm like, you know, and we took a break like we should have after the first one. And I'm like, why did you pull me? And I said, I'm not mad, because I wasn't mad, but I was irritated because I don't know. Yep. It felt like I was about to get something. But again, he was reading my body language, and he knew that something was about to go wrong with me.
And Keith was said he was feeling the feelings of aggression. So,
and I think that it was just an accumulation of everything. I think I was feeding off of Shelly. I think I was feeding off of Keith, and I was also feeding of my own intuition. And I think it all just came together at that point with whatever entity got right next to that REM pod, and it was just pull her now. And
now, Shelly, when Blake pulled you, you actually told us what it said to you that you would not repeat while you were under. What did it tell you?
Well, you go ahead. You can tell him.
I'll let you tell the story.
I don't usually
it told you to kill him. It told you to kill him.
It told me to kill him. Yeah.
It said kill him.
And I said, I'm not going to say that. And he goes, you're not brave enough. And I'm like, it's not that I'm not brave enough. I'm not saying that.
Yep.
Yeah. It did tell me to kill him.
There is something really nasty going on there.
Well, you know, and here's the thing. Here's and yeah, I mean, after seeing that video, Keith, God bless your souls. All I gotta say, because Lord, you know what? I'm glad that big man was there to get you out that house, because ain't nobody else was gonna be able to do it. You know, so
God bless Joe.
That's God bless Joe, right? So, I'm just gonna throw this out here right now. It's definitely an evil spirit. I don't believe it's demonic, because I've been watching Joe. I don't know if y'all noticed, but I haven't even looked at y'all. I just been watching him, and usually a demeanor of a demon won't leave. It won't leave. It stays with you. I had Ryan. You know, I'm glad Ryan asked the question, because I wanted to see how he answered it, how he felt afterwards, if he felt like something was attached, or was he really tired afterwards. And you said that it didn't affect you like that. You were sore. You were tired right afterwards.
Yeah.
I mean, no offense, but you was wrestling a big man there, and he was manhandling you, dude. I'm just saying. So, and thank God for that, right?
He bragged about that too.
Yeah, he
bragged about that.
You know what?
You know what? In the
Every
moment,
right to.
In the moment,
right.
It wasn't as easy as Joe made it appear to look. It was not easy at all.
No.
And trust me, you didn't get the very first part coming through those doors, because it was a huge fight right at the threshold.
Right.
But it was a fight from the room, through that room, to the little foyer area and out the door. It was a fight the whole way.
Right. Right. No. And it looked really difficult because you weren't going anywhere. You didn't want out of the house. That just tells me that whatever is residing in that house can't leave.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when
The
you
way
cross
I
that
dropped,
threshold,
the way I
exactly.
dropped when I crossed that threshold, it's like it said, "Fuck you, I'm done."
Yeah, you can't.
It was done with me. As soon as I touched that threshold, it's like boom, done.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So somebody conjured it.
Oh, is that what you would think would cause that?
Yes.
When they conjure it, Stacey, is it bound to that location if it's conjured there, or can it move?
This is my belief. I cannot prove this in any way because I'm not out conjuring spirits. But when I do, I'll let you know, Shelley. But I do believe that is a spirit that is conjured up is in my beliefs is stationary.
Okay.
Now I do want to point this out about the conjuring. During the part of the video that wasn't seen, Shelley asked whatever was upstairs to come down and speak through me. And upstairs is where everybody was getting that little girl, Alice.
Mm-hmm.
So she invited whatever was upstairs down to talk through me. And I was mocking that thing earlier, saying it wasn't a little girl. It wasn't a little girl. And Shelley invited it to come down and speak through me. And then she asks if Alice is here. In the video, because I've watched the video 20 times. She's like, is Alice here to speak to me? But she invited whatever was downstairs to come talk to us. But I left myself open for that by volunteering for the Estes Method.
Right.
And I didn't know that story before he did that.
Oh,
This
absolutely
is,
not.
Because, but also I think that before I ever asked those questions, I think he's already done, because he said when the moment he put on the headphones, he didn't remember anything.
Yeah.
I think he got jumped before that, but I'm sure I didn't help things. That's why I was like, I'm a public apology to you, Keith.
Yeah, it could have started upstairs when I was playing poker with Cowboy. I don't know. Because I felt fine up until I put the headphones on, and then I lose I lose everything and wake up on the ground. So there's no telling when it could have happened to me. It could have been happening all night for all we know.
That's very true.
Yeah.
So I have actually 2 more clips that I want to play for y'all.
Okay.
One of them is going to be in the moment of Keith's Estes Method. And Shelley, it was when we felt the cold breeze come through.
Oh,
okay.
This is great. Yeah.
And what I really, because I mean, if I need to play it again, I can, but I want everybody on the screen to really pay attention to Kayla's going to be the one with her back to us on the one closest to the camera with her back to us. I want you to pay attention to the tablecloth on the right side next to her.
Yeah, we're about to get that breeze.
You can see me touch my leg when I felt it. Oh my god, dude! Holy shit, bro! Did you see that? Oh my god! No fucking way!
Did y'all catch it?
Yeah.
If you watch a little longer, Shelley actually spreads her arms out across the floor, acknowledging the breeze.
Yeah.
He was standing behind us talking about it. She goes, that's when I was acknowledging the breeze. You could see I felt the breeze, and I was like, it's moving this way.
Yeah.
Now there's no like air in this house or anything, right?
No.
Nothing like that.
No.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the weirdest thing because Shelley, you were standing in between the living room, that threshold, living room and the well room where we were. And you said, there's a cold breeze coming through here. Can somebody acknowledge this? I'm squatted right next to you. And I just kind of put my hand this way. And you can see me actually on the video, which again, full unedited videos on our YouTube channel. And I feel it. And right as we're doing that, that's when that tablecloth just picks it. And Kayla did not move her leg. I have watched that over and over and over again. She does not move.
She actually has her legs crossed to the left side, and that tablecloth moves on the right side, by her leg.
Yeah, and the way that it does is it
flips out
up. It like picks up at an angle. So if she were to have moved it, it would have gone this way, not this way,
not flipped up.
Yeah. So then the other one that I do want to show is a different perspective of getting Keith out of the house.
Be prepared, Keith. This is the door frame ripping one.
This is the door frame one with the security cameras. So
okay.
That's that truck issue. If he just goes to grab you, he won't go.
Look at that death grip around my neck you got.
Both hands.
We're gonna miss the first threshold struggle.
You're pushing.
You wanted it.
No,
there it is.
Look, it's going fast.
Look at that. There's the light right there.
Oh my God, holy shit!
I was like, we're just gonna put that back in place. Oh, we lost Shelly.
Oh man.
She'll be back.
Kelly.
She'll be back.
She'll be
But
back.
that was that was showing the angle coming down, looking down the stairs, obviously from the IR security camera, showing that piece of trim. I mean, literally, you just with 2 fingers went up underneath it and lifted it up yourself.
And
like
the amount of grip and strength that would take is astronomical. I mean,
You
that
can
is
see
insane.
the struggle. I mean,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
see the struggle between the two of them with him not wanting to leave the house.
Yeah.
You see it plain as day. That is just, I mean, Keith, one more question. Hi, Shelly.
Hi, I'm back. I just wanted to kind of rearrange the layout a little bit.
You did a great job.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Keith, have you had any bad dreams since this location?
I have had nightmares about the first week. They've subsided, but I've had nightmares where
Yeah.
it didn't go the way it went.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah.
The first one I had was I was upstairs stuck in the kids' room. The second one was when they're pulling me out, I took off upstairs and I was in the kids' room in the corner trying to fight everybody off of me. Second one was I seriously injured somebody.
oh,
I've had nightmares, and I do a lot of breathing methods because I've had anger issues as a child, as a kid, anyways. So I
Right.
know how to control my breathing stuff. But like talking about it now, it's hard because I don't.
Yeah.
My mom and my brother and my sister were all diagnosed schizophrenic, multiple personalities. I mean, on paper they are nuts, and I've always been afraid of that. And something like that happens to me, and I'm like, well, what if I was like hypnotized and that's the real me and I'm just living a facade?
Right.
You know, that's what went through my head like the first week is what if that was like really me and I was just hypnotized because the static coming over the thing. Maybe that's what happened. I don't know. So I had a little some negative dreams, and I was like, maybe that's the real me right there, and I could have seriously hurt somebody. And that sticks with me now. Like I don't know how to. I can't explain. I can't say sorry enough to anybody that was there that night. I really
you
can't.
don't have to
No.
apologize. Like I said, we felt like we
No.
let you down by missing the cues.
Yeah, and that wasn't you, dude. Like, you don't have to apologize to anyone. I mean, you were something took advantage of the fact that you were open,
Yeah.
and that has nothing. That was not your fault in any way, shape, or form.
And Blake and I have both been with you on other investigations, and we know that is not how you are at all.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it scared me so much in the moment, because I went around with you a lot at Army Beach. Ryan
Yeah.
went around with you at Army Beach. We both
y'all were awesome.
Y'all were like our favorite group of the whole night. We loved hanging out with you. We were having so much fun with you. And never at any point did we feel any kind of negativity or anything like that with y'all. And so I think that's why it scared me so much. Now, Stacey, can you reassure him that these dreams will go away, or at least tell him how to make them go
they
away?
have went away, but the first week after, I mean, I was sore that first day, but the nightmares, they were there. And, you know, it's not something I'm proud of because of some of the actions that were portrayed in the nightmares. I kind of don't want to go into detail.
No,
But it didn't end up good for anybody in that house.
Right.
And yeah, it's bad. I don't think I'll probably ever participate in another Estes.
I don't blame you.
Just in case, you know, because y'all were mentioning I'm like hypersensitive because there's or something like that. So if something was like that to happen again and nobody was there to stop me, God knows what would happen, you know?
So
Do you meditate?
I don't think I'll ever participate in another Estes. That's why at the beginning when we were talking about the Estes, I said my team will never do it without a professional there. because we don't know what the fuck we're doing. We just started investigating. We have a bunch of newcomers that showed up that night. That was first hunt ever, and this was a lot of people's real first hunt. Like Mineral Wells hunt, we had a couple people there, but this was like for sure our paranormal group going and do this. We invited y'all out. We had a blast, and we wanted to know about this experience because we saw y'all did it. But my group will never do it without y'all there, because we don't know what the hell we're doing. And it's obvious in that video that I wasn't ready. Half the people there were not ready. So.
I don't want you to blame yourself though. I understand that you had a traumatic experience and that it was something that was very scary and you have had nightmares. But once again, I can't reiterate this enough. It is not your fault. Like you had nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
No. Because the most prepared person can sit down in that chair and they can put those earphones on and that blindfold on, and they're still going to get attacked just like as you did. They're going to get jumped. I mean, it happens. It's how open you let yourself is what needs to be, elaborated. But it's not your fault at all. No.
Yeah.
They just picked you, and they picked you from the very beginning.
Yeah.
And sometimes they just pick at random. You know how sometimes we say that they'll want to talk to one person and not to another? I mean, Blake's tapped out of Estes Methods. I've tapped out of, been like, I'm not listening to that. I'm not doing this. Get me out. I don't feel right. And I think just because it was so quick, I know that I did not expect that quickly. And if I remember correctly in the video, I mean, I don't know if you can see it. I had literally just checked the time. And because I was trying to make sure that we did not go past it, but
and that just goes to show too, like even as investigators who are seasoned and have done this for a long time, sometimes we even make mistakes and can't see things like y'all couldn't see. You just didn't know until it happens, and then you have to rectify the situation then. But sometimes you just don't know until it jumps on somebody
until it's too late. And then you have to fix it.
It's a learning curve. I mean, it's something that, because I can tell you right now, I will say this live on camera. I will never make the mistake ever again with the evidence that we were getting with me under. I mean, I know I wasn't privy to what was happening, but if I am leading and that's what we're getting, then somebody who hasn't done Estes is definitely not
won't
going
go. We will stop and take a break, which is what we did 99.9% of the time. Every time we do this, we take a break and let that energy dissipate. And we didn't. I guess we were excited. We were getting responses. We were getting answered, and
it was
we forgot.
It was energized in that room. Yeah, everybody was hyped. Everybody was ready to go again. It was like they said, there was something about that room. Even though we were getting activity everywhere else, it was everybody gravitated to that room for everything almost.
Yeah,
it was weird.
And the parlor was much more comfortable. There were actually couches and things to sit in. This one, everybody's standing, but yet that's where we all went.
Well, that's where we did the seance, was in the parlor. You'll see if you go through that little book. I don't know if she still has it, the owner, but she used to keep a book on a table right when you walked into the parlor to the right.
That's still there,
where the guest had that, put their write what they did that, or what they saw that night, or what happened to them that night. Well, Gypsy's drawings in there as to what she saw during the seance.
I didn't look through it that far. We actually wrote in that book before we left, and all we put was check the cameras, check the footage. That's what we put. I mean, that's no other way I can explain it.
Yeah.
Check the footage. Yeah. So we wrote in that, just note to the owner, check the footage.
Right.
I mean, because there's no other way to explain it. I can't explain it to this day. I woke up on the ground.
Yeah.
So.
Well, how are you feeling now? I mean, besides the fact that you feel upset about the Estes Method.
Great. I go on with my normal day, and I go to work. I come home. I cook. I spend time with my wife and my son, and go to bed. Do everything the next day, just like it was before that.
No mood change. No nothing of that sort.
Nope. I'm just as bubbly as ever.
Well, good.
And he is bubbly. He's bubbly and fun to be having an investigation
yeah.
with you.
Oh,
This
that's
whole
awesome.
team is.
I was gonna say, the whole team. I mean,
Yeah.
Haunted Sky Paranormal, amazing time
That's a
with
fun
y'all.
crew. That is a
Yeah,
fun crew to go with.
That was the first time I had met any of y'all, and I would, in a heartbeat, go on another investigation with y'all. So
Now they may think twice about us,
they
but
may not feel the same.
No. If we ever do, when we do another one, y'all will catch an invitation. So,
So I am gonna. I will get a satchel of crystals for Keith. And he
Thank you,
needs to
Stacy.
start wearing them in his pocket. They'll be blessed with the holy oil and the holy water.
okay.
And you need to put them in your pocket as you go into haunted events. Due to the fact that you've already been jumped once, I didn't say there's not a mark, there's not a 666 glowing or anything like that, but it does mean
It leaves a residual energy.
It does, and it means that you can get it again. So let's just go ahead and protect ourselves. Saint Michael, the Archangel prayer. If that's what you believe in, please by all means pray to him because he will help. If you don't believe in him, if you believe in, a goddess or a god, please say the white light prayer. Surround me with the white light. Protect your home. Put the salt on the bottom. Do not bring your equipment in your home, Blake.
You better have.
Don't bring any equipment into your home.
I never do.
I don't know. I mean,
Leave it in your car.
These are things that I do to protect my home. There's always a salt, and nothing evil may enter. Nothing evil can come past this. Only good and white light may enter, and that protects my family. My husband doesn't do this. My daughter, she goes everywhere with me. So make sure that you do that. Make sure that you protect yourself. Make sure that you carry your crystals. Make sure that y'all all of your little group has sage. And I'm not real big on, oh, well, this sage is good with this sage. The good Lord grew sage. Use sage. Okay. I'm not dragon's blood. I don't even know what the hell that is. We ain't even had no dragons. So, but I mean, use sage. Believe in the sage. Believe in the healing power, and make sure that you always have it on you. If you don't have holy water, you don't know where to get holy water, I will be more than happy to get you some holy water. Okay. So just make sure you protect yourself from now on. And if you start to feel anything different, I'm going to tell you, I was jumped at Yorktown. I've done it. And I'm the dumbass that stands up there and calls out the demon. I'm her. So, and yes, I've been jumped. I don't believe it was a demon. Poor little Shelly just got cussed out. And
I'm used to
They
it.
always get cussed out.
They always cuss out.
Right?
That's okay.
I will tell you. Whenever Keith, you had said next place we go, you'll catch an invitation. Your team, not any of our people. These were the 1, 2, 3 comments in a row. Yorktown.
I think y'all are going to Yorktown, Keith.
Looks like we're going to Yorktown.
All right. Let's roll.
Your crew.
I will definitely need those crystals.
We will make sure we get them for you.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I will get them for you. I'll make sure Shelly gets them to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Get them too.
And make sure that you keep them on you. Make sure you don't take them out, because I'm going to tell you, if you're going to Yorktown, it's going to start playing with your mind. Oh, I don't need these. I'm telling you, you need those.
You need them.
Yeah.
Yorktown.
That place ain't no joke.
No, it's not.
No.
And make sure that you say a protection prayer if you believe in that, and if not, just ask the white light to provide you with the peace and the tranquility that you need in order to go in here. Make sure that when you leave that building, you tell them you are not welcome to come home with me. That's a big plus right there. Okay. But it's not your fault. Like I said, I've been jumped too. I went outside and drank holy water and then went back in, but it took me about 3 weeks to become myself again.
Yeah. I was pretty normal right after the fact, except the nightmares, no real mood changes. I mean, I went right back to the daily life like I always have.
Yeah.
That's not what your wife said.
Everybody calls me an asshole. She calls me an asshole anyway.
Oh, okay.
That's a normal thing.
I'm like, that's not what. Well, yeah, Carissa said you were still a sarcastic bitch. So
Yeah.
Oh, dang. Now Carissa's chiming in.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, just if you feel like it's it's
You
with
know
you.
you.
Yeah, you and going into other haunted locations, make sure that there's somebody that knows you too.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, I have had a lot of fun on this. Do we
I
have
have too.
final
Oh my God,
thoughts?
this is
Yeah.
great.
I was gonna
This has
say,
been great. This
Yeah.
has been
Yeah.
it's been a great night.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, thanks for coming on, y'all.
Start with
Thank you.
Keith. I was gonna say start with Keith real quick. Keith, any final thoughts? Any final words?
For anybody who's watching, if you're gonna go to Gainesville and do this because you can rent the location for the night, just be careful. Don't do what I did. Just be careful.
Yeah.
Stacy?
Do what Stacy said and protect yourself and just be safe.
Stacy, I'm going to ask something very specific of you. Can you give us something to close down any negative energy that may have because we played those videos? Can you close this kind of for us with something to just kind of? She's shaking
I'm
her
not
head
a
like that.
Wiccan.
You don't have. Well, then why don't you give us something
okay,
of protection?
So when you go to close down your video, all I want you to say is that all evil must stay. Evil cannot come, and that's it. I mean, I think that Blake is having an experience because Blake doesn't protect himself in a proper manner. And Shelly, you're always going to have experience. I mean, from the get-go. But the video I mean, it's a video, and I don't believe that the evil has come through the screen and got you. But as y'all are closing out your sessions and you're speaking of the evil, make sure that you let it know that you have no power here. We may be speaking of you, but you have no power here. Don't come.
All righty.
Okay.
All righty. Ryan?
I mean, I'm glad that Keith is okay. I'm glad that you were able to get out of there and go back to your day-to-day life. Once again, like we said, we can't reiterate it enough. It's not your fault.
Yeah.
Protect yourself when you go to any new location, any location in general. Tell things they have to stay behind. I always do before I leave somewhere, before I step onto the ground, before I leave the threshold of the building. I always tell things you have to stay. You cannot follow me. You're not welcome in my life. We appreciate you talking to us, and we'll come back and see you another time, but you have to stay here. Make sure that you leave whatever is there behind and go on with your life. And I'm glad everything's okay, and I'm glad both of y'all came on so we could talk to y'all about this, because there's a lot going on out there, and sometimes it's hard to make the difference, to differentiate between what is just a bad person or spirit in the area and what is demonic.
Blake, final thoughts from you, and then I'll wrap this up.
I was gonna say I had a blast tonight. Again, Keith, Stacy, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
No, not a problem. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. As I always say, if you're listening to us on audio or on other social media channels, make sure you go check out all of our social media channels. You can find us on Twitter, Twitch, on Facebook, obviously, and YouTube, obviously. We do not post everything to every single social media channel, so we have different things on different ones. So you're going to catch all kinds of different stuff from those. So that's all that I have. Shelly, I'm going to throw it back to you and let you wrap it up, girl.
So again, thank you to our special guest, Keith Abram from Haunted Sky Paranormal, ordained minister Stacy Ortiz from Gypsy Soul Paranormal, and of course, my partners in the paranormal, Blake Smith and Ryan Roberts. I'm Shelly Pruitt, and thank you so much for watching Everything Vaguely Paranormal. I've stumbled over that twice. Thank you for watching Everything Vaguely Paranormal, and we will see you next Tuesday.
Bye.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye.